All right, deep divers, are you ready for another deep dive with us? This time, we're going to be looking at what to do when your index annuity, well, it's just not doing what you thought it would. Like, what are your options? So we're calling this deep dive our Annuity Rescue Plan. And to help us out, we've got this document called Turn Your Underperforming Index Annuity Around.
Catchy title.
Right. And it's by diversified insurance brokers.
Okay. I'm interested to hear what they have to say, because this is a pretty common problem, people getting stuck with annuities that just aren't working for them.
Totally. So have you ever felt trapped by a financial product? Maybe you were promised the world, but reality turned out a little different. This document basically says that's what's happening to a lot of people with their index annuities.
Yeah, makes sense. Like, what are some of the reasons why these annuities are underperforming? The document talk about that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the big things they point out is like bad renewal rates. You get lured in with that awesome teaser rate, but then it like totally tanks and your growth just goes poof.
Ugh, yeah. Those teaser rates can be so misleading.
Right. It's like a bait and switch. And then there's the problem of limited index options. You might be stuck with an annuity that's tied to an index that's just like going nowhere.
Makes you feel like you're running in place, doesn't it?
Totally. And of course, we can't forget about the classic villains, those pesky high fees that eat away at your returns.
Yeah, those are never fun.
And those sometimes misleading sales pitches that might have led you to the wrong product in the first place.
It happens more often than you'd think.
So what does diversified insurance brokers actually recommend doing about it?
Well, they start by offering a free consultation to review your current annuity, no strings attached.
Free. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah. And they're not tied to just one company's products or anything. They work with over 75 top-rated insurance carriers.
Wow. So they have a lot of options to work with.
Yeah, they say over 1,000 different annuity products, so they can really shop around and find something that might be a better fit for you.
Okay, but how do they make money if the consultation's free? Just curious.
Good question. Well, they earn commissions from the insurance carriers if you end up buying a new annuity through them.
Gotcha. So are they just going to try to sell me something even if I don't really need it?
So that's the thing. They emphasize that their recommendations are always based on what's best for you, not about pushing products just to get a bigger commission. They say they're more focused on building long-term relationships, Yeah, trust and all that.
Makes sense. Happy clients are better than a quick buck, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this annuity rescue plan, how do I know if it's like something I should actually look into? Like, are there any specific situations where it makes sense?
Yeah, the document talks about a few different scenarios. Like, let's say you don't actually need to use the money from your annuity for income right now.
Which would be the case for like a lot of people who are still working.
Right, exactly. So in that case, you might be paying for features you don't even need, like an income rider.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
So diversified insurance brokers could help you look into rolling those funds into a different annuity that doesn't have that rider, which could save you money on fees.
And potentially even get better growth.
Yeah,
Right?
potentially. They also say they might be able to find an annuity that gives you a bonus for transferring your money over, which could help offset any surrender charges from your old annuity.
Ah, that's good to know, because I know those surrender charges could be ouch.
Yeah, they definitely can. It's definitely something to consider.
So surrender charges, are those the main downside of switching annuities? Any other risks we should know about?
Well, there's always the risk that a new annuity might not perform as well as you hoped. Markets can be unpredictable, interest rates change. There are no guarantees with investing.
It's true. Nothing's ever a sure thing.
Right. So it's important to weigh all the factors, before making a decision. And that's something that diversified insurance brokers says they'll help you do.
Okay, so they're not just going to, like, throw you into something without explaining all the details.
No, they say they take the time to really understand your needs and your goals and your risk tolerance, and then help you figure out what makes the most sense for you.
That's good. So we talk about the scenario where you don't need the money for income right now. What are some of the other situations where this annuity rescue plan might be a good fit?
Well, another common problem is being stuck with historically low rates. Like, if you bought your annuity when interest rates were super low and they haven't really moved much, you might be missing out on potential growth.
Makes sense. So what can you do about that?
Well, diversified insurance brokers could help you explore other options, like maybe a fixed indexed annuity or even a variable annuity.
Variable annuities, those can be kind of risky, right?
Yeah, they do come with more risk, but they also have the potential for higher returns. It's
Yep.
all about finding the right balance between growth and security.
And that's where their expertise comes in, I guess.
Exactly. They can help you assess the risks and rewards and figure out if a variable annuity is a good fit for you.
So it's not about just going for the riskiest option to try to get the biggest return. It's about finding something that actually works for your individual situation.
Right, it's about personalized financial planning.
Okay, this is starting to sound pretty good, but I'm also thinking about another big concern for a lot of people, which is long-term care.
Yeah. Long-term care, that's a big one. And it can be expensive.
Exactly. So what if you don't have enough saved up to cover those potential costs?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. Diversified insurance brokers might suggest rolling your existing annuity funds into a new annuity that includes a long-term care rider.
Okay, hold on. What exactly is a long-term care rider?
Think of it like an add-on to your annuity. It
Okay.
basically provides extra benefits that are specifically for long-term care expenses, like nursing home care or in-home care.
So it's like adding a layer of protection to your annuity.
Exactly. It can really help cover those potential costs and give you some peace of mind.
But long-term care can get pretty complicated, with all the different types of care and the costs and everything. How do they help people figure all that out?
Well, they say they have a really good understanding of the whole long-term care landscape. Like, they know about the different types of care, the costs, the funding options, all of that. So they can help you create a plan that works for your specific situation.
Okay, that's good. It's reassuring to know you're not just like on your own trying to figure all this stuff out.
Right. And they really emphasize their educational approach. Like,
Yeah.
they don't just throw a bunch of jargon at you and expect you to understand everything. They take the time to explain things clearly and answer your questions.
So it's about empowering people with information, not just overwhelming them with complexity.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. But before we get too deep into the solutions, let's back up a second and talk about a potential problem that a lot of people might not even realize they're creating, which is the tax time bomb for their heirs.
Ah, yes. The unintended legacy.
Right, like you don't want to leave your loved ones with a huge tax bill when you're gone.
No, definitely not. And it's a more common issue than you might think, but it can be avoided with the right planning.
So what exactly is this tax time bomb, and how can diversified insurance brokers help people diffuse it?
Well, basically, if your annuity isn't structured properly, it could end up passing a big tax burden onto your beneficiaries when you die.
Ouch, that's not what you want.
No, not at all. But they can help you look at things like annuities with enhanced death benefits or structured payout options that can help minimize those taxes for your heirs.
Okay, so it's like leaving a legacy, but without the burden of a giant tax bill attached to it.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm seeing the value in having someone who really knows this stuff guide you through all these decisions. But what if someone's like skeptical? They've maybe had bad experiences with financial advisors in the past and are hesitant to trust anyone with their money. What would you say to them?
I totally get that. The financial industry hasn't always earned people's trust. But I think what sets diversified insurance brokers apart is their focus on transparency and integrity. Like, they're not pushy salespeople, they're more like trusted advisors. They really seem to care about helping people reach their financial goals.
Okay, that's a good point. So what's the next step for our listeners who are like intrigued by what they've heard so far?
Well, the easiest thing to do is just reach out to diversified insurance brokers and schedule that free consultation.
Free, remember.
Right, free. They can review your situation, answer your questions, and help you explore your options, all with no obligation. It's a risk-free way to get some personalized advice.
That sounds like a good deal. And we'll dig deeper into what makes diversified insurance brokers so unique in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into, fixing those index annuities that aren't quite living up to the hype.
Right. In part one, we talked about those tricky situations, like when you realize, oh man, my annuity has these terrible renewal rates, or I'm stuck with these limited index options, or I might be accidentally setting up a tax time bomb for my heirs.
Yeah, all those things that can make you want to hit the reset button on your annuity. And we started to touch on, what makes diversified insurance brokers' approach, well, kind of different, like their big network of carriers and their commitment to being transparent with you.
Right. Right. And their focus on finding solutions that are actually tailored to your specific situation. But there are so many financial advisors out there. So, like, what makes these guys, really stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's no shortage of companies offering annuity services.
Totally. But what struck me about diversified insurance brokers is, well, how much they emphasize building actual relationships with their clients. It's not just about, pushing products and making a quick buck. They're actually invested in understanding your needs, what you're trying to accomplish.
So it's not like walking into a store and just getting handed whatever's on sale that day. More like working with someone who's like custom making something just for you.
Exactly. It's personalized financial planning, not a one-size-fits-all approach. They really get that no two situations are exactly alike.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Especially with something as complicated as annuities, having that personal touch can make a big difference. But beyond that personalized approach, what else makes diversified insurance brokers stand out?
Well, one thing that impressed me was their dedication to educating their clients. Annuities can be confusing. There's a lot of jargon, but they don't shy away from explaining all of that. They really believe in making sure their clients understand what's going on so they can make informed decisions.
Yeah, you don't want it to feel like you're going to the doctor and they just tell you to take a pill without explaining like what it even does.
Right. They empower you to understand the why behind their recommendations, not just the what.
Okay, I like that. More transparency in finance is always a good
Okay.
thing. But let's get back to their annuity expertise for a minute. We talked about their network, all those different carriers and products they work with. But what makes their knowledge so valuable, like specifically?
It's their deep understanding of how the annuity landscape is constantly changing. I mean, new products are always coming out, features are changing, regulations are changing. It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, it's like trying to keep up with the latest technology or something. There's always something new.
Exactly. But diversified insurance brokers is on top of all that. They're constantly researching and analyzing new offerings so their clients have access to the most competitive and innovative solutions.
So they're kind of like those friends who are always the first to know about the coolest new gadgets and apps. But for annuities,
That's a good analogy. They're always looking for those hidden gems, the products that might be overlooked by others.
that's definitely reassuring. I mean, most of us don't have time to become annuity experts ourselves.
Right. And even if you did, it's hard to keep up with all the changes.
So it's good to have someone in your corner who's like a dedicated annuity detective.
Exactly. And they're not just, throwing products at you. They actually help you understand the fine print, the nuances of each product. Annuities can be pretty complex, right?
Oh, yeah. Different features, fees, payout structures. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Right. So diversified insurance brokers acts like your personal annuity translator, making sure you understand everything and, you don't get hit with any surprises down the road.
So it's not just about knowing what products are out there. It's about understanding how they work and, how they actually fit into your overall financial plan.
Exactly. They're not just trying to sell you something, they're trying to help you build a secure financial future.
Okay, I'm sold. If
Yeah.
I was trying to, fix my annuity situation, they'd be at the top of my list for sure.
I think so too. They offer that personalized service. They're focused on educating their clients and they really know their stuff when it comes to annuities.
But what happens after you've had that consultation?
Yeah.
You know, maybe you even made a change to your annuity. Do they just like disappear?
Not at all. Actually, that's another thing that sets them apart, their commitment to ongoing support. They understand that financial planning isn't a one-time thing, it's a journey.
So it's more like a partnership where they're there for you along the way.
Exactly. They're with you every step of the way, providing guidance, answering your questions, adjusting your strategy if needed.
So what does that support actually look like, practically speaking? What kind of services do they offer beyond the initial consultation?
Well, for one thing, they do regular portfolio reviews. So they'll sit down with you, periodically to assess how your annuity is performing, make sure it's still aligned with your goals, and make any adjustments as needed.
So it's like a regular checkup for your annuity, making sure it's running smoothly.
Exactly. They also keep you updated on any important changes, like in the market, new product offerings, anything that might affect your annuity.
That's helpful
And it's
because things change so quickly these days.
Right. It's nice to know you have someone keeping an eye on things for you.
Mm.
And they're always available to answer your questions, address your concerns, just provide guidance whenever you need it.
That kind of support can really make a difference. It's like having a direct line to an annuity expert whenever you need one.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just information and services, too. They really try to build a sense of community among their clients, like offering opportunities for networking and learning and even just socializing.
So it's about more than just numbers and spreadsheets. It's about connecting with people and supporting each other.
Right. It's a more holistic approach, recognizing that financial well-being is about more than just money.
Okay, I like that. But, a lot of companies talk about client centricity and building relationships. But how can we know if diversified insurance brokers is actually walking the walk, so to speak?
I get that.
Right.
It's easy to say those things, but harder to actually live up to them. I think the best way to judge is to look at their track record. They have a long history of satisfied clients who've benefited from their expertise and guidance.
And that's not something you can just fake. That comes from years of actually doing what you say you're going to do.
Right, putting your client's interests first. And I think that's ultimately what makes diversified insurance brokers such a strong choice for anyone who wants to, really optimize their annuity situation.
This has been so informative. We've gone deep into this often confusing world of index annuities, and we've learned about some potential pitfalls, strategies for turning things around, and of course, what makes diversified insurance brokers, so unique.
Absolutely. And remember, financial well-being is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about making informed decisions, staying proactive, and seeking expert guidance when you need it.
Right. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore one last crucial aspect of diversified insurance brokers' approach to their unwavering commitment to ethical practices and their dedication to always putting their clients' interests first. Welcome back, deep divers. We're in the home stretch now, wrapping up our exploration of how to rescue those index annuities that aren't quite performing the way you hoped.
Right, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? We talked about all the potential pitfalls like those bad renewal rates and limited index options. And of course, we spent a good chunk of time talking about what makes diversified insurance brokers, such a unique and potentially valuable resource for people who are looking for help with their annuities.
Yeah, their personalized approach, their commitment to education, the ongoing support they provide, all good stuff. But now we're going to dig into something that's really, I think, the foundation of any successful financial relationship, which is trust.
Couldn't agree more. Trust is it's absolutely essential, especially when you're talking about your finances, right? You're literally trusting someone with your money, your future security.
And let's be honest, the financial industry hasn't always done the best job of earning that trust. There have been, scandals and hidden fees and conflicts of interest that have made people understandably wary.
Yeah, for sure. So, how does diversified insurance brokers address that? Like, what are they doing to build that trust with their clients? What makes them different?
Well, one of the things they really emphasize is their commitment to ethical practices. And it's not just like lip service. Yeah. They've actually baked it into their whole business model.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? How does that actually play out in how they operate?
For one thing, they have a totally transparent fee structure.
Hmm.
Like they're very upfront about how they get paid, and there are no hidden fees or charges tucked away in the fine print.
No surprises when you get the bill.
Exactly. No surprises. They believe in being open and honest, and that includes being transparent about their fees. They want their clients to feel confident that they're getting a fair deal without any hidden costs.
Okay, transparency is great, but what about conflicts of interest? How do they make sure that the recommendations they're making are actually in the client's best interest and not just driven by, what's going to make them the most money?
That's another area where diversified insurance broker stands out. They're an independent firm, which means they're not tied to any specific insurance carrier. So they have the freedom to recommend products from a wide range of companies based on what they believe is best for the client, even if it means they might earn a smaller commission.
So they're not under pressure to push certain products, even if there might be better options available elsewhere?
Nope. They're truly putting the client's needs first, ahead of their own profits.
That's impressive. But
Well,
even with transparency and independence, there's still the potential for, you know, bias to creep in, even if it's unintentional. How do they address that?
their whole advisory process is designed to minimize that bias and ensure they're being as objective as possible. They gather a lot of detailed information about each client, like their financial situation, their goals, their risk tolerance, and then they use a data-driven approach to analyze different options and come up with personalized recommendations.
So they're not just like winging it or going with their gut feeling.
Not at all. They're relying on data, research, industry best practices, it's all very evidence-based,
Hmm.
which I think gives you more confidence that you're making informed decisions. And another thing that really stood out to me is that they're involved in a lot of industry initiatives that are aimed at promoting higher ethical standards and best practices within financial services as a whole.
So they're not just following the rules, they're actually trying to make the rules better for everyone.
Exactly. They're really committed to creating a more trustworthy and transparent financial landscape. And I think that's really commendable.
I agree. It shows they're not just focused on their own bottom line. They genuinely care about the industry as a whole and, protecting consumers.
Right. So as we wrap up our deep dive into, rescuing those underperforming annuities, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. Don't settle for mediocrity when it comes to your financial well-being.
If you're stuck with an annuity that's not doing what you want it to do, or if you're just looking for a trusted advisor to help you plan for your future, reach out to diversified insurance brokers. What have you got to lose?
Exactly. Schedule a free consultation, ask questions, explore your options. You deserve a financial partner who puts your interests first, who values transparency and integrity, and who's truly dedicated to helping you reach your goals.
And on that note, happy diving, everyone. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating financial topic.